all aboard the Cosmic Coaster, aka the astrology for your week ahead. Hi, my name's Haley Comet. Welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet, and welcome to your Magic Monday astrology forecast for the week of August 19th to August 25th, 2024, where we are gathered to discuss, just as we gather to discuss every single week with every single week of astrology, what is ahead for your week ahead. And beyond just letting you know what the planets are up to, here on Magic Monday, we strive to take a co-creative approach so that you feel empowered to align with the astrology, to see what each of these transits is here to show you and teach you, and to nudge along your growth, as well as to potentially mitigate some of the celestial challenges that we may have in store when it comes to this week's forecast and when it comes to every week's forecast. And before we get into this week of August 2024's astrology, I have a question for you. Do you have something to drink? Do you have a snack? Are you seated? Are you sitting down? Because this is a major week of astrology. It is action-packed, and when the planets are busy up there, life tends to feel quite busy, quite chaotic, quite erratic down here on planet Earth. So we have a lot to discuss. Firstly, the week opens with an Aquarius full moon. And this is ultimately, with the Leo sun and the Aquarius moon, a illumination of the tension between the head and the heart, right? Leo is all around the heart space, what lights us up, whereas Aquarius is asking for this more detached, zoomed out perspective. Now, the energy of Leo makes us operate on passion. With the Aquarius full moon, there is an ask to view things from above. There can be energies this week, especially with the Venus square Mars alignment happening a little later, around letting our passions in the moment get the better of us. And there is an ask to zoom out, take in the big picture. Don't allow the heat of the moment to allow you to react in ways without understanding the bigger picture of what is going on currently, which the full moon can bring to light. And this full moon's bringing a lot to light with the full moon's opposition to Mercury retrograde. There is a piece of information, there is some news, there is an epiphany, there is an aha, there is a light bulb moment associated with this full moon. Something is coming to light, a truth is being illuminated. And for many, because we have Mercury square Uranus, the full moon squares Uranus, this truth, this information, this epiphany is out of left field. It is something shocking. It could be something that's driving change. For some, this could be a shocking development in an ongoing story that's been playing out within your world since July 21st, the first time that Mercury squared Uranus. For others, it's something random, unexpected, out of left field. And when information comes to the surface, there is an ask to face it, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it forces you to change in some regard. And I do feel that for some, there is an unpleasant reality that we are being forced to acknowledge this week. The energy of Uranus is not necessarily positive nor negative within its own expression. However, on the same day as this electric Aquarius full moon, we have the Jupiter-Saturn standoff. Now, this is a defining transit for not just August 2024, but honestly, all of 2024. And I did do a deep dive all signs forecast breaking down that transit, what's coming to life within your chart. You'll want to check that out. It's part of a much bigger story, but that tension that we've been feeling build all of August thus far does reach its peak on Monday. And with this alignment brewing and building, it is an acknowledgement around where it is that we feel stuck. And maybe for some, this full moon is leading to an epiphany around where you can get unstuck. For some, it could be this acknowledgement around what you need to do in order to genuinely grow. And for some, it could just be facing something that's been inevitable, a truth that you've been trying to escape from or hide from that is ultimately delaying and blocking and restricting your pathway forward. This T-square pulls in Venus and Mars into the mix. And so for some, there is a lot of tension that's brewing around relationships. There's going to be a lot of talk this week around, should I stay, should I go? There's going to be certain contemplations around where you and your partner are stuck, where it is that you two want to grow and move forward. There could be an awareness for you around where you want to evolve past old relationships emotional patterns or cycles. Of course, there's other Venusian themes coming to the surface. For some, you could be feeling this around finances, wanting to grow in some ways, feeling stuck and trapped in other ways. There could be that should I stay or should I go tension coming alive within your work. And again, while there is a spotlight around what could potentially need change with this full moon squaring Uranus, like I said, zoom out. Zoom out before you allow yourself to be quite impulsive. Do know that Mercury is retrograde. Do know that this T-square pulls in Venus and Mars. So there could be an energy around letting our passion, our heart in the moment, the heat of the moment get the better of us. And there is an ask around take it from the big picture. It's not to say that you shouldn't change and that you shouldn't evolve and that you shouldn't move forward. And with Jupiter squares Saturn, sometimes we have to make unpleasant decisions, confront unpleasant realities in order to grow and move forward. But it just asks for you to use your head, take a step back, zoom out. Is what's really important when navigating this week. So we will build on these themes, plus talk about so much more as we take it into the rest of our forecast. But before we do, take a step into my Cosmic Cafe. My loves, what are you sipping on? What are you snacking on to start this week? I hope you heated my heads up at the beginning of the forecast to grab something to eat and to grab something to sip on, because I was not kidding. There's a lot to discuss. I am drinking a cup of lemon water. It just felt appropriate as we do enter Virgo season this week, which is kind of like get your act together season. You know, a lot of people are going back to school. Summer adventures are kind of winding down. We're getting back into routines. We're getting back into working out, back to our studies, back to our tasks. And for me, lemon water just always makes me feel like I have my life together. Like my life could be an utter mess, an utter disaster, but when I wake up every morning and I pour a cup of lemon water, that is just the epitome of just feeling like I've got it all figured out. I'm good. I'm good. How could my life be in shambles? I'm drinking lemon water. Like I am the pinnacle of health and well-being. So I would love to know, what are you sipping on to start your week? Before we get into the forecast, I want to just super quickly chat about half birthdays. I have my half birthday this week, and I know I can just feel it. I can feel it through the camera. A lot of you just rolled your eyes like, Haley Comet, half birthday, are you 8? Half birthdays do carry significance within astrology. It's known as the transit sun opposite sun, and I love using it as a celestial rite of passage because it is a time to take into account your first 6 months of the year and make adjustments, right? Whenever we have opposition energy, it does ask for integration, it does ask for adjustment, and because the sun, where it's transiting, is the furthest from your natal sun at the time of your half birthday, a lot of times you do experience a lot of contrast. There could be a lot of energy around my life is like this and I want it to be like this, or this is where I am and I want to go here, which sometimes can be disheartening. Sometimes it could be a hard time of year because there is certain acknowledgments around, wow, I had these certain goals for my birthday and I have not move forward on any of them. But it's an opportunity to take those contrasts, take that data around what you're observing, around where you are and where you want to go in order to put the steps into place in order to get where it is that you want to go. So I will most certainly be celebrating my half birthday this Sunday, August 25th. And next time your half birthday rolls around, I recommend to celebrate it as well. I typically start with just like a journal entry around what I'm proud of within the first 6 months of the year, where I feel like I did not stay true to my initial birthday intentions and ambitions, and then what I'm dedicating myself to within the next 6 months of the year. I think it's a really lovely, sacred rite of passage. I'm very pro half birthday, so if anybody tries to tell you that you're extra for celebrating your half birthday, just know that you have my full cosmic support here in my Cosmic Corner to go off for your half birthday. Do it big. So welcome to Vibe Check of the Week, which is where we compare all of the energies that we will experience within this week's astrology, because even within my brief synopsis, we did not even begin to cover it. There is so much going on this week. And we compare all of those celestial events to a real life scenario. Now, super important caveat, especially this week with this week's vibe check, is that I am not literally saying this is going to unfold within your world. This is simply a metaphoric device to help tune you into the overall emotions, themes, and dynamics to help you figure out where this energy could practically and realistically surface within your world. Because what's the point of understanding that Mercury is sextile Mars and the sun enters Virgo and that Jupiter squares off with Saturn? This is a segment in which we bring those energies down to earth around realistic ways in which those themes could arise. And that's a really important caveat this week, because this week's vibe check of the week is a breakup. And I am not saying that everybody is breaking up, okay? Please take a deep breath. This is why I told you to grab a sip of water or grab a snack or maybe a favorite stuffed animal, something that's comforting to you. I'm not saying everybody's going through a breakup. This is why this week's astrology kind of feels like that. And it feels like a very particular sort of breakup. So to paint a picture here, we will say that you've been in a relationship for a long time. And you do truly love this person, but you cannot snooze how stagnant and how stuck you feel. It feels like the two of you are not able to move forward. And you honestly are not feeling particularly valued or appreciated by this person. You just have this anxiety within you, and your intuition is just kind of signaling that something's off. But you've stayed and you've stayed and you've stayed because it doesn't feel like it's rooted in anything real or anything within reality. Like you just get this weird feeling every so often around like, who are they texting? Or like, are they really staying at work late? But you snooze that because it's not part of your physical 3D reality. It feels ridiculous. But you will say, in terms of your role within the relationship, you are feeling less valued. You are feeling less loved. You could even be feeling less beautiful. You've been trying to put more effort into yourself because you've been wondering, like, is it something I'm doing? Do I need to be sweeter? Do I need to be more beautiful? Like, why does this person feel more cold? And why do I feel so stuck within this connection? Your intuition would signal to you, but you would snooze and snooze and snooze. You were comfortable, even contemplating, well, what would life be like if I left? Like, that feels so uncomfortable. It's so unknown. You can't even visualize it. And you're so scared, honestly, of what life would look like if you were to take that step. And so this has been something that's been beneath the surface. Again, you're not in any harm. It has not been unbearable. There's just this feeling of boredom within the connection, not feeling valued, not feeling seen, not feeling appreciated, not feeling like the two of you are moving forward whatsoever. But there has not been anything concrete that you are able to pin it on. So thus you have snoozed those intuitive hits, and thus you have stayed and stayed and stayed and stayed. And that all changes one day, one Monday morning, we'll say. And that's this week of astrology. So that's the zoom out, is that you've had this whole history with this person. Zoom in, it's Monday. And your partner forgets their phone. And so you see it, and you know that they have to do some work stuff on their phone. So you decide that you are going to drive to their office in order to drop it off on your way to work. And so you take the phone, you're in your car, and it dings and there's a notification, and you are very respectful of your partner's privacy. However, you do get this just intuitive nudge around, look at it. And you see right there on the screen something that finally confirms a lot of your suspicions. It is not what you were expecting to read. It's not what you were expecting to see. It's not what you wanted to read. It's not what you wanted to see. But in a weird way, seeing this message finally allows you to have a logical reason around why you are going to leave this relationship. And for the purpose of the vibe check, we don't need to go into what the notification said, what the message said. Maybe they were trash talking you with somebody else. Maybe it was someone that they were flirting with. Who knows? But all we'll say is that it was an unexpected message that made it very clear around, yeah, I've got to go. Something's got to change within my world. And it's hard because it is this balance of head and the heart, because even though you have not felt particularly valued or appreciated, that's the energy of Venus opposite Saturn within this connection, even though you feel that this connection has been holding you back in some ways, you've been feeling very stuck and very stagnant, trying to do more and just receiving less. You love this person. You're loyal to this person, right? That's the energy of a Leo sun. Like, I love you. I don't want to disrupt our whole lives. Like, I want this to work out. But with a zoom out approach of Aquarius full moon and like taking in all of the data, not just of this message, but every intuitive hit that you've got, every feeling that you've had, every time this person worked late, every time this person wouldn't look at you, every time this, every time that. Finally, there's a message that at least gives you a logical reasoning around why you have decided to leave. And this could be something that other people tell you you're being dramatic. Like it's just one little notification. It was just that one time that I was trash talking you with my cousin. It was just that one time I was flirting with my coworker. It was just that one time that I lied to you about this thing. But it's not the one time. Again, maybe this is the one time that's giving you the clearance around, okay, finally I have something rational that I can pin this on. But this has been a brewing story, a brewing feeling, an intuitive hit. And finally you just have something to pin it on. So yes, people will say, oh, you're so dramatic, but it wasn't just that. It's kind of like last straw energy. And yes, it's uncomfortable disrupting your life. It's uncomfortable leaving your comfort zone, right? That's also an energy of Jupiter square Saturn. It's just like, I have overstayed my welcome here. Like I'm no longer growing. I'm no longer evolving. And comfort is a high price to pay, I will say, especially in certain chapters of your life. You pay a lot when you are just operating through the lens of what's comfortable. And of course, you know that releasing this relationship when you've been together for so long, it's going to be uncomfortable. There's so many unknowns about it. There's so much that you need to do. You have to start saving in order to move out. Like there's so much that needs to be done. But at least you have the clearance to be able to move forward. And so I'm not saying that all of us are going to see a notification on our partner's phone that prompts this huge life-changing decision. But what I can say is that there's this overarching theme this week around some sort of information coming to light, a message, some news, an epiphany from within that is prompting you to have a mindset shift or to see something in a new way or in a new light. And for some, this truth that you're acknowledging is not particularly pleasant. We have to keep in mind with Jupiter square Saturn, Jupiter is in Gemini. This is a Mercury ruled sign, right? And so there's an ask for us to be able to move forward, to progress, to grow, to evolve. That's Jupiter. We need to confront something. That's Saturn. We need to confront the reality of the situation. And I believe that Saturn in Pisces is this planetary embodiment of the truth that living in a rose-colored reverie can ensnare you, it can restrict you, it can keep you stuck. And this could come through around escapism, not wanting to face something. This could come through like within the vibe check around just having an intuitive feeling but not having anything rational to pin it on, so just ignoring it. It could also come through around being in a situation where information was kept from you, where you were in a state of illusion, deception, misunderstanding by no fault of your own, right? Those are things that keep you stuck. Because you don't know the zoomed out, you don't know the bigger picture of what's going on. And when we view from that lens, that notification on your partner's phone and the fact that they forgot their phone that day and you decided to take it to work, that was, universe source energy looking out for you around, you deserve to know this information, right? Because once we know something, it gives us the ability to move forward. Like the truth always comes to light and the truth does set you free, even if it hurts your feelings or breaks your heart at the same time. And so some are confronting a certain truth that is prompting a shift this week. Some people are confronting something that is going to support their growth, even if it's unpleasant to bear. I also see this theme around it's not showing up around, leaving a relationship. Some people are getting their health habits on point. Like you have not wanted to get your blood pressure checked because you don't want to face it, And there's this energy this week around, I've got to face it. I've got to get my routines and my rituals in check. Like keeping myself purposely in the dark on this is simply delaying the inevitable. And there's an energy where for me to genuinely move forward in my life, I might need to get my blood pressure checked, right? For me to genuinely move forward in my life, I might need to confront the deception that has been alive within my relationship. For me to move forward in my life, I may need to switch careers or make some sort of shift. There's an unpleasant acknowledgement that we are facing this week. And for some, this could be around money. For some, this could be around love, relationships, health, as I highlighted. But to wrap up the vibe check, we will say that after you see this notification, every part of you wants to run into the office and scream at your partner and say, how dare you do this? But you actually don't do that. You don't do that. You want to. You sing some angry songs on the way there. You cannot believe the level of deception and betrayal that you are feeling. But you take this zoomed out approach, right? That is an S for Aquarius full moon, the bigger picture here around, okay, you just calmly go to the office, hand your partner their phone, and you begin to make your financial plans, again with Venus opposite Saturn and squaring Jupiter, in order to leave. You start to make your arrangements in order to leave. You don't say anything to your partner. You just begin to take the steps necessary in order to accommodate your growing in a new direction and particularly stepping out on your own. And is that scary? Heck yes. You've been in this partnership for so long. Was it serving you? Not necessarily, not always, but it was comfortable, it was familiar, it was what you knew. But even making this decision and beginning to make arrangements and make plans around it, you begin to enter this new phase where yes, that freaking broke your heart. You were betrayed, like you were misled. But it prompts you towards this glow up, not for this person, but just an energy around, I'm going to take all this energy that I was trying to put into fixing my relationship, fixing my partnership, getting this person's affection and love back. I'm going to put that and pour that right back into myself. And that's the energy of us entering Virgo season, around wanting to get our health on point, right? Wanting to go to the gym, wanting to level up within our career, wanting to potentially, for some, call back energy that you've been investing in a dead end connection and pour it back into yourself and move your life into a new direction. Are there lots of uncertainties around what it is that you're stepping into? Will you maybe have some delays, Mercury's retrograde, around stepping into your new life, needing to move through the rest of your lease, needing to save the money necessary to leave, needing to make the arrangements necessary within your life to leave? Yes. But even just that decision around, I'm not staying here any longer, it's given this brand new momentum within your life, this new lease on life. And there's so many uncertainties. But one thing that you are certain of is that you are stepping into a new chapter within your life. You know your worth. You know you are not deserving of that. And you know that wherever it is that you're going in this new chapter, as uncomfortable as it is, you're going with self and you're showing up for yourself. You're hitting the gym, you're walking, you're showing up with your lemon water, you are going to work, you're on your goals. You're taking all of that energy that you've poured into this connection and now you've seen this person's true colors and it's like, no more for you. I'm redistributing, I'm reallocating the energy that I've invested in you and I'm pouring it right back into myself. And that's where the glow up happens. So my loves, we'll go so much more in depth into this as we take it into our day-by-day analysis. I do just want to let you know that I'm located in California, so the time zone that I utilize is PDT, so Pacific time zone. So feel free to adjust to your local time zone wherever it is that you are, as many of these energies may land at a different time or even a different date than the one that I state within my forecast. I also want to highlight there's just so much noise today. I'm filming this around the full moon, and full moons, things are just wacky. There's been construction, there's been people yelling, there's been cars beeping and honking and people fighting. I don't even know what's going on in this world. I'm just warning you all. Full moon energy, people get kind of wacky, and this full moon squares Uranus. So you could find that people are behaving very unusually. You could find that there's a lot of erratic, unpredictable behavior going on around you. So we're just gonna have to rock with all of the noise disturbances that you will hear in the background of this forecast. I'm so sorry. And I also just want to highlight, I do have a tendency to talk very fast. So feel free to play with the gear icon in order to speed me up, to slow me down, to synchronize my rate of talking to your rate of processing. And without further ado, let's take it into the astrology forecast for Monday, August 19th. So happy Monday. Welcome to your astrology forecast for Monday, August 19th. And oh my, what a Monday it is. Let's get into it. Let's begin with the Aquarius full moon that exacts at 11:26 a.m. PDT. Now, this full moon lands at 27 degrees Aquarius. So you'll want to see where within your chart you have 27 degrees Aquarius. That is where you could find this culmination, this illumination, this aha energy brewing and building within this current astrology. And like I said, this full moon does ask for a balance of the head and the heart. When we talk about the Leo Aquarius axis, Leo is very in our own experience, right? In our leadership and our life force energy. Aquarius is zooming out, contemplating our role within the larger span of humanity, viewing things from a more logical or detached perspective, from a more objective perspective, which is hard, especially if there is something that comes out on Monday that was not what you were anticipating nor expecting. It's a passionate week of astrology. We see this with us wrapping up Leo season and with the Venus square Mars later on this week. A lot of us can be prompted to operate on impulse. And it's not to say not to change, because I do feel this full moon is squaring off with Uranus is prompting where a lot of us are needing to or wanting to change, or for some, maybe even being forced to change. So it's not to say to stay complacent or to stay stuck or to stay stagnant or to stay in your comfort zone rather than where the universe is pushing you. I'm just saying, get that zoomed out approach. And if you let, within the vibe check, you let the anger, rightful anger around seeing that notification get the better of you, you're going to stomp into the office, you're going to slam that phone down, you're going to scream, you're going to yell, and you're going to lose your leverage of the situation in order to calmly set up your next life. Tying up the loose ends around, okay, we've got a complete lease, I've got to save some money, but my heart is checked out. Like, I've checked out my heart. I've made the decision to move in a new direction. Because sometimes when we operate in the heat of the moment, we lose our leverage, firstly, and we also don't allow ourselves to take in the clarity around, am I going to lead? If I confront this person, are they just going to have a convenient excuse for it? Like, sometimes it helps to zero out, to view something logically, even if at the heat of the moment there's something that may upset you. And I don't want you to move into your Monday and thus your week with fear, like being scared every time your partner gets a notification. Mercury square Uranus doesn't necessarily need to be something bad. This full moon squaring Uranus doesn't need to be a prompt for change that is bad. It just feels like something that's unexpected, and for a lot, something that's forcing you out of the comfort zone in a certain degree. And there is an ask to zoom out, contemplate the bigger perspective. And so with this full moon, people can be behaving a little strangely, a little erratically, unpredictably. You may be a little unpredictable. A lot of times with Uranus energy, there's just this electric feeling. You could feel like you're buzzing. You could feel like you are a little unsteady. You're a little bit more easily triggered. You're a little bit more reactive. You should have seen me just a couple minutes ago. There was someone, I don't know, vacuuming outside. Today's been so noisy, and I've been so easily triggered by every noise that I hear. Like, so on edge, I would say, is a very Uranian energy, which maybe on other days, if I was operating from a very calm and balanced nervous system, these slight noise disturbances wouldn't bother me as much. But because I'm already on edge, it almost made me want to quit Magic Monday. I was almost like, I can't film today. There's too many noises outside. And that could be the energy of Uranus around just feeling very on edge, feeling very anxious. Like, I don't want this vibe check in this week's astrology to make you paranoid around what's coming out. Am I going to see a notification on my partner's phone? Is something bad going to come up? Because I just feel like this is kind of an anxious full moon. And I don't want to add to that. I feel for some there could just be this energy around feeling on edge, feeling on pins and needles, being more reactive to sounds that you're hearing, to lights, to noises. You could have a hard time sleeping, and that also doesn't help our nervous system feel very balanced and calm. So there is an ask, if possible, if available to you, please ensure that you are taking care of yourself this week, doing the practices that allow you to feel more settled, feel more grounded, feel more steady, can be really helpful. Because again, when we're in that more reactive, unsettled, unsteady energy, we oftentimes are more inclined to react on impulse or react on emotion or in the heat of the moment. And there is an ask to take a deep breath, zoom out. Zoom out, zoom out. And for some, this zoom out energy could even just be showing up around just your life. You know, if there's been a situation that's been bringing you anxiety, there's an uncertainty, there's something that's been in the back of your head giving you some worry, this zoom out energy could just be asking you to take a stock at the full extent of your life, at all of the blessings that are existent currently. Because oftentimes when it comes to something that's bothering us or something that's giving us anxiety, that swells up and becomes the whole of what it is that we are focused upon. And there is an ask with Aquarius full moon around zoom out, around away from this problem, take in the bigger picture. What are you grateful for currently? What's going well within your world? Even like zooming out and taking a more impersonal look at your life honestly can help sometimes. Like, I remember when I was really going through it, I had to journal in third person and like really try to zero out, because when we're in the mess of it all, when we're in the passion of it all, when we're in the emotion of it all, we don't see it clearly. And for me, journaling from third person around, you know, at this time, I think I was 24. So it's like, Haley is a 24-year-old girl. She's worried about this, but she has this amazing aspect of her life, and this is going well, and she loves doing this. Like, remembering the bigger scope of who it is that I am and of my life overall was helpful. Because as you know, when you're moving through something, or even just a problem, a disturbance, something that's annoying you, we tend to make that the focus. We tend to zoom in and even like obsess or allow it to make us feel very anxious, very unsettled. And it's important to zoom out, take in the bigger perspective of your life, of what it is that you are navigating through, as well as the problem overall. And you might be asked this week to work that muscle around zooming out. Like you might hear something at work that makes it clear, okay, that's my confirmation. I've got to get out of here. I've got to quit, right? But zoom out. Is it wise to quit right now? Should you save a little bit more? Should you do some research? Like it's hard to fight the impulses within the moment, but zoom out. You can make that decision inwardly. Like that's what I always think about Mercury square Uranus energy, is that it's an epiphany. And once we have that mindset shift, once we make our mind up, we cannot go back to how we view things prior. Like maybe if you've been back and forth, should I stay, should I go, should I stay, should I go? Something comes in that a lot of people could say, oh, you're blowing this out of proportion. It was just one little comment. It was just one little notification. How are you going to leave this relationship just because of that? Or leave this job just because of that? No, that was just the final straw. That was just the confirmation that my brain needed in order to justify said leave. And again, you could hear something in the heat of the moment wanting to go over and address your superior and say this, that, and the third, but there's an ask, zoom out. I can make that decision that I'm leaving, but let me get my ducks in a row. Let me plan a little bit. You know, we're entering Virgo season this Thursday, and you want to know something interesting about this Virgo season? Not to put this on you when we're already having an intense week of astrology, but we are getting closer to eclipse season. So we do have a Pisces lunar eclipse next month. So yeah, the cosmos are not letting us breathe with all of these celestial events. But there's a need with us entering Virgo season, even outside of it being eclipse season, there's a need for us to plot our next steps. And I also see that with Jupiter squaring Saturn around. We could want to leave and grow and take action. Keep in mind, Mars and Jupiter are still aligned in the same portion of the sky, but there's an ask around, let me get my ducks in a row. Let me plan. Like I am growing, I've made this decision, but let me exert the Saturn facing of reality, taking into stock the account to the full extent of the situation. Let me take the zoomed out approach of the Aquarius full moon and let me put together my pathway towards growth. Because with Mercury retrograde and Jupiter in Gemini squaring Saturn, don't feel like you need to tell everybody everything right now. Okay, you can absolutely confide in your close friends, you could journal about it, and while there might still be lingering energy around wanting to tell someone off or wanting to react in a certain way, sometimes the better approach to really win in the situation and to really be able to move forward is collect the data, potentially unexpected data with the Aquarius full moon squaring Uranus, and use that data to plot your next steps. It might be what you wanted to hear or read, it might be what you didn't want to hear or read, but nevertheless, once you know something, you can't unknow it. Something's coming to light, and how it is that you choose to progress is up to you. And with this energy, there's an electric current in the cosmos currently, and we could just be contemplating where it is that we want to break the mold, where we want to do something different, where we want to be true to ourselves, where it is that something isn't feeling true to ourselves as well, with this full moon squaring off with Uranus, wanting to fight against what's expected of us, wanting to fight around what's restricted us, what's kept us captive, what's kept us ensnared could also be a theme here. There could be themes around where it is that you are rebelling, where it is that you are protesting something within your life, where something feels unfair, unjust for yourself or for all of humanity. It's an Aquarius full moon after all. And another really major energy that occurs on Monday, August 19th is that Jupiter will square off with Saturn. Now this exacts at 2:46 p.m., but its influence is not just limited to today or even this week. This has been an ongoing story. It's been building. It's likely been a tension that you've been feeling. And for some, this tension is around, should I choose growth? Should I expand in this new direction, or should I stay in this situation that's maybe not fulfilling, but it's what's expected of me? For others of you, you could just be feeling really stagnant and really stuck. And this full moon squaring Uranus could just be that decision around, I've got to change my life. Like you just get sick of yourself at a certain extent. You get sick of talking about the same stuff. You get sick of dealing with the same problem within your world. You get sick of something. And sometimes you just have this moment. It's like a light switch turned on where you just all of a sudden you're ready to change your life. It doesn't need to come through in this major life event. Like sometimes the universe will force change on you via a major life event. Sometimes it's just waking up in the morning and just being like, I'm tired of waking up in pain every day. I'm gonna take actions to better my life. I'm tired of complaining about my boss or about my job. I'm going to go back to school in order to change my life. Like, don't feel like the impetus to change your life or to move in a new direction needs to come from outside of you. My love, sometimes the most powerful change are just you waking up one day and just being like, I am sick of this. I need to change. Change could be hard. This is a fixed T-square full moon. Fixed is very steady. It's very stubborn. It's very set in our ways. But sometimes there's just an energy around, if I keep doing what I've been doing, I'm going to keep getting what it is that I've been getting. And I'm over it. I want to do something different. I want to change my life. And change is possible. I know particularly in August, you could be feeling very stuck, very trapped within a particular situation. And sometimes it is just the decision that you make from within around no more. No more of this, or more of this potentially, or going in this direction. I'm going to change my life. So if you're stuck in a situation that's unfulfilling, where you're not getting what it is that you want, you're not feeling valued, you're not feeling fulfilled, you're not growing, you're not evolving, there could be an energy with this full moon square Uranus around, it's time to shake something up. And think about past times you've done this, okay, with Mercury Retrograde. Think about the new routines that you have integrated within your life, just because you were like one day, I'm sick of not being able to run a mile. Then you started on a certain system and now you can run 3 miles, no problem. Think about the time in your life in that typically you would just wake up and put coffee into your system before you even fully opened your eyes. And now you get out of bed, you meditate, and you drink a cup of lemon water. And the first couple of times that change was uncomfortable, but now it's second nature. It's how you start every day. Or think about the times that you did gain the confidence to leave an unfulfilling job, an unfulfilling relationship, to just decide around, I deserve better. And to just allow that impetus for said change to come from within. It's hard. And even if we consider the vibe check, like it didn't necessarily come from within, it was like an outer notification, but it confirmed something that you knew within. And sometimes we just need that final, like, oh, that'll do it. You don't have to worry about me. You do not need to worry about me. Like if you know that TikTok sound. Sometimes we just need that final thing like, ooh, that'll do it. That'll do it. That comment I heard from my superior, or that blood pressure result, or that text from my partner. Ooh, that'll do it. Because it's not just that. And people could tell you, oh, it was just one comment from the superior. Oh, it was just that one notification from your partner's phone. Oh, it was just that one blood pressure test. But it's not just that. It's been confirmation of something that's been ongoing and under the surface. And it's the final straw. It's the final acknowledgement that confirms within, yep, it's time to change. Because it has to come from within. Like the universe could send you 20 notifications. It could send you all of the signs that you need to go get your blood pressure checked. It could have certain events happen at work that are trying to nudge you towards a new environment, but it has to come from within. Like it could send you all the confirmations, but until you decide that you're ready to change, and with the Venus alignment to Jupiter and Saturn, that you deserve more, you will stay. Right? Until you are ready to change. Like ultimately, you are the driving force of the change within your world. Even if there are situations that feel out of your hands right now. Because I'm not saying all of us are going to figure out this entire situation this week. Like I said, there's like a planning and plotting energy when it comes to this week around just plotting our next steps around, that'll do it. And then taking the steps necessary to figure out how to lower our blood pressure, or to figure out how to leave this job, or to figure out how to leave this relationship. Like there's just an energy around, that'll do it. And that's what I need to see to have the confirmation around, I want to change. I want something different. And I deserve something different. And so with the Jupiter square alignment, Venus is in the mix. So we've got Mars and Jupiter gathered in Gemini, we've got Venus in Virgo, and we've got Saturn in Pisces. So we have 2 T-squares essentially alive within the astrology. We have the full moon creating a fixed T-square with Uranus. Then we have Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn creating a mutable T-square. And the thing about T-squares is that it's crossroads energy, it's stress energy, it's tension, it's conflict. And so if you're feeling pulled in all of the different directions, my love, you're in tune with the cosmos. You are in tune with the cosmos. And bringing to light the mutable T-square. Again, Jupiter square Saturn could present a certain crossroads. Should I stay? Should I go? Should I grow in a new direction? Should I stay put? Am I too scattered? Do I want this enough in order to make the sacrifices necessary? Where do I need to face reality in order to grow? Like that could be a story that this Jupiter Saturn energy is bringing to light for you. And now it's pulling in Venus. And with the energy of Venus, it's going to ask you, what do I value? And that's the first theme. So if you find that your Jupiter Saturn is this energy around, I'm so scattered, I'm so all over the place that I'm not able to grow in any certain direction, Venus in Virgo is adding to the conversation, asking you, what do you value? What do you want to grow? And do you value it enough to show up for it, to sacrifice for it? Because that's what keeps you showing up, is when you see value in what it is that you do. When you see the value in what it is that you're doing, that's what allows you to show up, to make the sacrifices necessary in order to grow. Like, I've been forthright with my journey here on YouTube. My love, the first couple of years on this channel, it was crickets. It was crickets. But I still showed up because I loved what I did and I saw value in what I did. And there were so many times that my friends were going somewhere and I said no because I was recording, literally recording to like 2 people. Like, it would have been fine. But nevertheless, I still showed up because I loved what I did. Like, if I was in it for the wrong reasons, I would have stopped after week 2. I would have been like, girl, this is crickets. Nobody's watching this. Like, again, you gotta love it, because that's what makes those sacrifices, those all-nighters, whatever the story is, whatever you're wanting to grow, that's what makes it worth it, is seeing the value in what it is that you're doing. And for some, maybe that's playing out in work with Venus and Virgo, and you could just be acknowledging, I don't care enough about this industry to continue showing up or to make these sacrifices in this particular way. It's time to make a change. Or maybe you're not feeling valued and that's what's prompting a change. So for some, it could show up financially through work. For others, it could show up through love. And same thing goes in that relationships also take sacrifice, just as anything else we're wanting to build. And with the Venus energy, it's like, is my heart in this? Do I value this within my life in order to make the necessary sacrifices in order to support my relationship? And every connection is going to go through hard times. And I want to just reiterate, I'm not saying that everybody needs to go through a breakup this week, for the love of God, no. I'm hoping that nobody is legitimately going through this exact story, but I'm just saying it's what the astrology feels like. And with the energy of Venus, it's ultimately this ask around, am I being valued here? Do I value this enough to put and invest my energy here? Because if not, it might be this acknowledgement around, it's time to redistribute. It's time to reallocate my energy. Because in the energy of Venus and Virgo, you know, Venus and Virgo, it may not be dignified, but it's very discerning, right? So for some, you could find this energy around wanting to get your finances in order. For others, it's just this energy around, what's the ROI? What's the return on my investment here? Again, it's not that relationships are self-serving, but at a certain point, you need to look at, are you benefiting from this relationship? Is it benefiting your life, or is it taking more from you than it is giving to you? Are you feeling valued there? Because the energy of Venus and Virgo opposite Saturn can sometimes make us feel like we need to prove our worthiness to somebody else, that we need to do more in order to earn their affection, that we need to be more perfect for them. Because when I look at the photos of myself when I was in my early 20s, it honestly makes me really sad. Because viewing it now, I look at those photos and I just want to like scream to the girl in the photos, like, you're cute, like, you're cute. Because I know the truth of the girl in the photos, and I know that she didn't know that. Like, I know the mental prison that she was in. And it's not to say that looks are everything, right? And that our confidence is purely around our looks. But it's so frustrating to see that I was in the, physical prime of my life, early 20s, whatever you want to call it, like in a time in my life where life was fun. There was so much good happening within my world. But I constantly felt less than because of a certain dynamic that I was in, where I was being compared to other women and triangulated with other women, and constantly felt like I had to be doing more and being more in order to earn this person's love and validation and acceptance. And when you're in a dynamic like that, it is hell on the self-esteem. It is hell on the self-esteem. No matter how objectively beautiful, successful, whatever you are, if you are in a dynamic where you feel like you have to prove it to somebody, you will not be able to see it to yourself. Because ultimately, if you decide to take this person's coldness or disinterest as an invitation for you to try more, there's a part of you that doesn't even see that worth or that value or that beauty for yourself. And so with the energy of Venus opposite Saturn, there could also be an ask around, is this worthy of my energy investment, of my time investment? I'm jumping through hoops trying to be enough for you, but have I even asked if you're enough for me? Like, this is a dynamic that I want to be in. Because again, when we get in a situation like this, it becomes less around the person, it becomes what they represent. It becomes, if I can get you to see my beauty and my worthiness and my value, then I will feel it for myself. And the colder and more withdrawn that you are, the more of a challenge it is for me, the more I feel out of reach. So the less confident I feel within myself, and the more I dig my heels in to earn this prize that do I even want? Do I even want a partner who makes me feel this way? And so with the energy of Venus opposite Saturn, some of us could be having acknowledgments around the energy that we've been investing within a relationship and what we are getting back from it. And again, with Venus and Virgo, needing to view things very realistically, potentially needing to view things very pragmatically. And with the energy of Venus opposite Saturn, also contemplating if this relationship makes sense. It doesn't make sense. Zoom out. Zoom out. Like I think of that early 20s, the girl in that relationship, girly girl, zoom out. This relationship doesn't make sense in the bigger picture. It's hard to see when you're in your heart and when you're in your emotions. And that's why you gotta get out of that every so often. You gotta get to the logical. You gotta get to the bigger picture. You know, it's very Aquarius full moon for me to be giving a quick little brain lesson right now. But I do want to share, we have our prefrontal cortex in the front of our brain, which is what is responsible for us making sane, wise decisions. It takes into account consequences, what happens if we make certain decisions. It's a very rational part of our brain, is our prefrontal cortex. And then we have our limbic system, which is kind of like our emotional brain. And our limbic system cannot distinguish physical pain from emotional pain. It all feels like pain. And when we're operating from that limbic system, from that emotional standpoint, oftentimes we'll do anything to alleviate that pain, even if it has poor consequences. Because again, when we're operating from that limbic system, from the emotional brain, we're not taking into account the consequences. We just want anything to make this pain go away, right? This pain of not feeling good enough. So let me dig my heels in and try to earn it back, versus prefrontal cortex to just take into account, do you even want this person? Do you even want this prize? Does this make sense, girly girl, within the bigger picture? Like for some, you could be asking yourself that. And with Venus opposite Saturn, Saturn energy makes us confront limitations and knowing that my love has limits. Like I can love you, I can want the best for you, but it has limits. If my love for you is costing my own self-esteem, I'm feeling like crap about myself because I'm in this dynamic, it costs too much, I'm out. If my love for you is costing energy that I need to be investing in things that are going to beneficially enrich my world and help me live in accordance to my soul's purpose, I'm out. If my love for you is keeping me stuck and stagnant within my own world, then it costs too much. Like there could just be an energy around really needing to look at something uncomfortable about your relationship. Again, no fear. For some, you could just be finding that you're wanting to budget with your partner, right? Contemplate, how do we want to move? Where are we going to move? Wanting to reallocate and redistribute. Maybe needing to confront certain elements within your relationship. Maybe needing to talk about errand split. Maybe you're on a health journey with your partner. Like there's just an energy with Venus opposite Saturn around needing to face a certain reality within your relationship. And for some, it could be an energy around maybe even facing, we've outgrown this relationship because Venus is squaring Jupiter. And so there just could be an energy around, my growth is done here. I've evolved as much as I can evolve here. And now I need to face that. Because again, you can feel that build, but there just becomes that moment that you are aware and that you have certainty around, my growth is taking me in a new direction. And that's why within the vibe check, this is someone that you'd been with for years and years and years. You know, Saturn is time. And maybe you've been complacent. Maybe it's been comfortable. You've been willing to do all of the errands and handle the childcare and handle the food because that was the dynamic that you guys set up. Or you were coping with the fact that your partner would always hide their phone when you were in the same room. You were snoozing your intuition when it kind of just was telling you this is not the right relationship for you. And sometimes it takes a jolt to get us out of the comfort zone, right? To realize how much our comfort zone, even if it's not ideal, how much our comfort zone could cost us. And sometimes there could be an energy when you've been in a dynamic like this around the sunken cost fallacy, around, well, I've already been with this person for, 6 years, 7 years. If I were to leave, does that make that time a waste, right? So I'm just going to stay because I don't want it to be a waste. So I just need to stick it out, right? And again, I'm not saying to everybody that the aim is to leave. Like for some, this energy could just be around, let's dig our heels in. Let's redistribute these household tasks so it feels more fair and more equitable. Let's find a way to move forward within a relationship so we're not so stuck. Let's find a way in which we both feel valued and appreciated. Like for some, it could just be this energy around you and your partner needing to grow together. But for others of you, there just could be this energy around needing to confront where you've been complacent or stuck in a situation that you knew to some level wasn't for you, but now there's this awareness around, it's time for me to go. And maybe that's even showing up financially. There's been like a bad investment and there's just energy around, I need to stick it out and I need to stick it out and maybe one day it'll turn around and I can't be wrong at this point because I've already invested this much time, but it's really taking into account the reality of the situation and how it is that you want to grow and move forward. So as you could tell, a lot happening on Monday. We probably could have done a Magic Monday just around Monday itself. But outside of those major events, which will continue to ripple out, so it's not that it's all completely wrapped up with a bow at the end of the day, but I will say that we have that full moon at 11:26 a.m. The moon is then void until 3:52 p.m., at which point the moon enters Pisces. And so I'd just say Monday might be a very chaotic, very busy day, unexpected news, unexpected information coming to light, unexpected developments, unexpected epiphanies. And again, not every full moon is life-changing for every single person. For some of you, you can observe other people within your world are contemplating major changes. You might feel like a little bit on edge, a little uneasy, a little anxious potentially. So just really important to soothe your nervous system with the moon entering Pisces, connect to your soul space. Like again, really important, zoom out, take into account the bigger picture. And with the Pisces moon from a soul perspective as well, right? Like a lot of times things happen and we could feel like it's the end of the world, but it helps to realize, you know, it's life. We came here as souls to evolve and to grow, and no one's getting out of here alive. So let's just strive to do the best that we can in this particular lesson of life school. Do the activities that make you feel supported. Because when there are things that are shakeups, again, unexpected news, things that are happening within the media that just make you feel so out of whack, like what's happening within this world, or elements within your life, information that comes to surface that just makes you feel all turned around. It could be helpful with the moon entering Pisces, particularly to connect to your soul space, connect to that reservoir of peace, of calm that exists within, that knows that you are safe, that you are supported, that you are exactly where it is that you're meant to be, and doing those activities that bring you back to that. Listen to the albums, be around nature, do the meditation on YouTube, anything that will remind you that no matter how shocking this full moon was for you or what information came to light, I guarantee everything will be okay in the end. With the energy of the Pisces moon, it's tapping into that divine wisdom of such. On Tuesday, August 20th, so the moon continues on in Pisces all day long, and I do want to share that even though the full moon has already peaked the day prior, we may still be in the energy of full moon feels. We may still be feeling things more intensely. And around full moons, people report different things. Some people feel very restless, very electrified, very energized. And I think particularly with this full moon squaring Uranus, that could be the case for many. Other people feel exhausted, drained. And so I would just say make Tuesday a full moon recovery day for wherever it is that you fall within that spectrum. And with the moon aligning with Saturn later that day, it could be stabilizing or helpful for you to stay busy on Tuesday. Like even if things feel wacky and out of control and you feel all over the place, perhaps showing up for your routines, for your work can be something that's making you feel a little bit more anchored, that's making you feel a little bit more stabilized, where it's like, this element of my life is out of control, but it's helpful to have this work project to dive into in order to distract myself, to get lost into something else with the energy of the Pisces moon. And maybe there's an ask to want to get lost into a good book, into a movie, into an album, something of that nature. Pisces moon can feel very soulfully nourished by connecting to what gives you sense of meaning or hope or peace, even if things feel a little chaotic. And you know, with the moon aligning with Saturn, yes, this makes us tune into our responsibilities or obligations, but it could also make things feel a little heavy, you know, like that notification. And whenever you hear something unexpected, sometimes you're kind of running off adrenaline, and in the moment you're like, I'm out, I'm done. And sometimes when things settle, there's other emotions that you are coming to terms with, that you're coming to grips with around, wow, why wasn't I enough that this person was flirting with somebody else outside of our relationship? Or, wow, why would the person who's closest to me trash talk me with their cousin? Or, wow, why would this person lie to me on this particular thing? Like sometimes after the chaos, after the culmination, then when it settles, sometimes different emotions can surface and sometimes different layers to it. Maybe at first it was just anger, but then when we sit with ourselves, we realize, oh, there's disappointment here. There's feeling like my self-worth is chipped at. There's feeling very deceived. Like sometimes we have to allow ourselves to cope with the heaviness of a certain situation where in the heat of the moment, because we were operating on adrenaline, this is not what I anticipated, we didn't feel right away. But now that we're allowing ourselves to sit with it, all of these other layers are coming to the surface. And it's important to sit with that, to not rush that process. With Mercury retrograde, I do feel like a lot of individuals are being guided to get very quiet. Like I said, don't feel like you have to say too much right now. With Jupiter and Gemini squaring Saturn, Mercury squaring Uranus, Mercury retrograde, don't feel like you have to say too much right now. Like sometimes you have to really get quiet. You have to really go within, especially if you are needing to make a major choice, which I do feel like some people are at this cosmic crossroads. Like only you know what's best for you. Only you and your soul knows what the right decision is for you, because many people within the vibe check, the right decision for them would be to stay, would to be to work on their relationship. But for you, there was just something that told you within, it's time to go. And that's something that nobody else can decide for you, ultimately. That's something that no one else can decide for you. And it could be frustrating because I think a lot of us with Jupiter and Gemini squaring off with Saturn are looking for answers and we're just finding more questions. With the energy of Jupiter and Gemini squaring Saturn, like being like, universe, tell me what to do, or loved ones, tell me what to do. Somebody tell me what to do because I feel so lost. But I want to say nobody is more equipped to run your life than you are. You know, as I highlighted, my half birthday is this Sunday, so it tends to be a very contemplative time of year for me to really acknowledge what has transpired. And the first 6 months of this year have been a lot, and it's been so challenging because in the midst of all of it, I have not felt too connected to my intuition. It's almost like I've been trying to outsource my intuition when it comes to my own personal life. It's like I can connect for other people and readings, but when it came to myself, crickets, quiet, which was hard because there's a lot of life stuff where my intuition would have been very helpful. I'm a Pisces, that's how I navigate this world. And for the first 6 months of this year, it's been crickets, it's been quiet. And in an effort to try to offset that, I've been getting all of these different psychic readings. I've been asking all of my loved ones their opinions, like just looking for someone to tell me what to do. Like I literally have been in an energy around feeling ill-equipped to run or handle my life. Like I can handle my business, I can handle my work, like that's been the stabilizing factor of my year. But when it came to my personal life, it's been super messy and I feel very ill-equipped to be able to clean up the mess or to make the decisions that will help me progress forward and looking for other people. Tell me what to do. Tell me how to proceed. And in all reality, the more that you're feeling tempted to ask other people what to do, what should I do, the more you really need to get quiet. The more you need to tune out all the noise whatsoever. Because if you just have a million different voices in your head around, I think you should do this, or you should do this, or I think this, or I think that, you're going to have all of these other people's voices, and that's their energy clogging up your soul space and your own tether to your own intuition, which is the only lifeline that'll guide you towards what is the most soulful path for you. Because if you listen to other people's advice and allow yourself to outsource your decision making to others, you will build their path. That's their path. This is your path. And you are equipped to handle it as much as, because I know if you've been in this energy, as much as you might feel like I can't handle this, I don't know what to do. And there's really an ask to get very quiet and to really tune inward and allow your soul to speak. And like I said, you know, work has been the stabilizing force for me this year, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm so freaking grateful for it. I'm so grateful for this cosmic quarter. I'm so grateful for all of you, because I do find that even if our life is in shambles, it can be really helpful just to tune to what's consistent, What's steady, right? What's stabilizing when everything else feels a little chaotic? And so maybe that's coming to light for you on Tuesday around showing up for your responsibilities or what it is that you want to build or what does give you some stability, what does ground you in a sense. Like if we think about a tree, we're moving into Virgo season, so we're going to get a lot more tree and plant analogies, I'm sure. But if we think about a tree, the top of it, the branches, could be shaking quite a bit, right? If there's a storm and that full moon square in Uranus, there could be a storm, right? Things in our life feel very shaky, feel very unstable, feel all over the place. Then we have the middle of the tree, which is swaying slightly, right? Accommodating for where there's lots of shifts, which represents the portions of our life that are affected by the change, so thus need to accommodate. Not the main arena of what's turbulent, but are being impacted by the change. So for example, in vibe check, the top of the tree where things are chaotic would be the message, the decision to depart the relationship. The middle of the tree would be, okay, well now I have to find somewhere new to live and there's certain shifts that I need to make and I'm going to accommodate for those shifts. It's a little less shaky and turbulent, but it's still swaying a bit. But there's other arenas that are rooted. That's the roots of the tree, where they are not swayed, right? They're grounded. And even if your life feels topsy-turvy, inside out, there are elements of your life that are stable. And it's important to show up for those things and allow that to be your constant. Allow that to be something that's grounding and anchoring, where it's like, regardless of how my life is transforming, I still wake up and I pour my lemon water. Or regardless of what's going on, at least my work is steady, right? Or regardless of what is going on, at least I'm showing up to run my miles. It's important to appreciate and look to the elements of your life that are stable, that are solid, that can help you feel more anchored as you move through whatever it is that you're moving through. And so yes, with Moon on Saturn, a lot of us could have responsibilities that we're not necessarily in the mood for. You know, Pisces Moon is kind of in a dream, but if anything, it could help you not be so in your emotions, just to focus on something else. You might find that there's a feeling of blah kind of in your Tuesday. You could be feeling a little drained. Sometimes when we have a full moon, it's a very high, like, emotional peak, and sometimes after these big emotional peaks, after, you know, a party or anything of that nature, we kind of have a come down in order to accommodate it. So that also could be Tuesday's energy, kind of like hangover energy to an emotional level as well. And then after the moon aligns with Saturn, it will square off with Jupiter. So ultimately, the Pisces moon is just activating this Jupiter square energy and just really asking you to stabilize yourself amidst it, whether that's to a physical level or whether that's to a spiritual level with the energy of the Pisces moon. And please try to get some sleep on Tuesday night. You know, the moon opposes Venus at 11:44 p.m. and then builds to square off with Mars in Gemini. That won't exact until Wednesday. And so we can be feeling quite passionate about something. It can be helpful to balance, you know, the boring responsibilities of life, that's moon on Saturn, with the things that invigorate your soul space, right? Music and art and people. There can definitely be some passionate energies building on Tuesday, but important to get some sleep. On Wednesday, August 21st. So firstly, I do want to say that this is the final day of Leo season. Leos, I hope that you enjoyed your time. And the sun is at the 29th degree of Leo. And this is an urgent degree. Sometimes it can make us want to do something urgently. And again, Venus squaring off with Mars is certainly not helping this kind of urgent, impulsive energy. And that could come through around impulsively shopping, impulsively lashing out on somebody, impulsively reacting. Like, there just could be an energy where we are more likely to allow our impulses to win out, especially if our heart is involved in some way. And so just something to exercise some caution around. And the Pisces moon will square off with Mars in Gemini around 1 a.m. If you're thinking about sending a sassy text, I would refrain. Put it in the notes app. Put it in the notes app before you send it. Write a burn letter, write down what you want to say, burn it on fire. A lot of times we do not need to send the text. I'm mentioning communication, but for others of us, we could just have moments where our emotions are getting in the better of us, and we could just be a little grumpy, a little bit more sassy, our words having more of a bite to it than we intend to, or allowing our moodiness in the moment influence our decisions that we decide to make. Again, it'll be a constant practice this week around, am I operating from my limbic system or from my prefrontal cortex? And then the moon meets up with Neptune. It exacts around 3 p.m. And so Wednesday could have this kind of like Neptunian shimmer over it, where things might not totally feel real. You might be a little bit in dreamland, a little bit in la la land, a little bit escapist in your own world. Work may not feel as intriguing. You may be daydreaming a lot, envisioning. You may just be in your own world, okay, on Wednesday. And that's all well and good. But I would just say, just in case there's an energy where something came out during the full moon, you had an epiphany, it could be all too easy on Wednesday to convince yourself, delude yourself around, well, maybe they'll change, or maybe I'll just stay for one more year, or maybe work will get better, or maybe I'll get my blood pressure together next year. Like, because with the energy of Neptune, we can sometimes comfort ourselves with lies. Like, Neptune is kind of this smokescreen energy, and sometimes it gives us a relief when we don't need to confront something uncomfortable. We want a vacation from confronting something uncomfortable, right? And almost want to be seduced into this false reality that's not real. Like, it's just a smokescreen, but it feels good and it makes it easier for me because then I don't have to change. I don't have to impact all these elements of my life. So I just want to say, be cautious of that on Wednesday, just in case you're feeling that kind of temptation around, should I just pretend I didn't see the notification? And should I just blow off this blood pressure appointment? Like, it could be all too easy around what I don't see won't hurt me, right? What I don't see won't hurt me. It just delays the inevitable. Again, the smoke screen lifts, and we can either face it now or face it in 3 years' time, 5 years' time. And the thing about time, not to be too Saturnian with it, but a lot of things with time, it just becomes more and more of an issue. And so sometimes there isn't as to face something head on. And so the moon is void after it aligns with Neptune at 2:54 p.m., at which point it enters Aries at 4:02 p.m. So I just wouldn't bet on Wednesday being the most productive day unless you work in something around photography, something artistic, something spiritual. You can be feeling very dialed in with your intuition. That would be a wonderful way to utilize Wednesday. But the moon in Aries kind of gives us a kick in the butt, where maybe we allowed ourselves to kind of be seduced around, well, maybe everything will go back to normal, maybe they'll change. But the energy of moon in Aries kind of gives us a kick in the butt around, okay, let's get real. Let's get real with ourselves. And even if you kind of had a little bit of a pity party with moon on Neptune, like I said, there could just be more emotional fallout that's surfacing after the full moon. And maybe with moon Saturn, it was dealing with uncomfortable emotions. And with moon Neptune, it's dealing with more weepy emotions, right? Around, why does this always happen to me? Why do people treat me like this? Like, kind of having a pity party, table of one type vibe, which is all well and good. Like, allow yourself to feel your feelings, allow yourself to get that out of your system. But at a certain point, you just get sick of having a pity party with the moon in Aries. It's like, okay, what am I going to do to move forward? Pity party over. And especially with the Aries moon going on to sextile Pluto, it's just reminding yourself, I'm resilient. And yes, I don't know what the next chapter of my life is going to look like, but I'm going to find out. And I know wherever it is that I'm going in this next chapter, I'm going there with self. And I've gotten through quite a bit, and I will continue to get through quite a bit. On Thursday, August 22nd, at 7:55 a.m., the sun will enter Virgo, kicking off birthday season for all of the wonderful Virgos out there. And I want to take this opportunity to wish you all a very happy birthday and just say that we absolutely adore you for your dedication to detail, for your grounded helpfulness, for your ability to encourage us to be the best that we can be, for your wit, for your attunement to how the small elements of our life make up the bigger picture. We adore you. I hope that you have a wonderful season. And just for all of us, as we navigate Virgo season, it's kind of the time in which we clean up from the party of Leo season, right? Like, Leo was a time of celebration and partying, and now with the sun entering Virgo, it's kind of like the moment when you need to take down the streamers and you need to box up the cake and you need to clean up the house, right? It's kind of a time that's transitioning us out of summertime here in the Northern Hemisphere, and we can have a certain spotlight around wanting to get our life in order, right? Wanting to drink some lemon juice, drink a green juice. Those things that make us feel more in control of our life. Start to eat healthier, right? Go to the doctor. Deep clean. There could just be this energy around, okay, now that the heyday and the celebration of summertime or Leo season is over, now there's other elements of my life to attune to and improve. And that's kind of the signal and the transition into Virgo season. And this was the energy and the vibe check around the glow up. right? With Venus opposite Saturn, some of us could have certain acknowledgments around this relationship, this connection is not a wise usage of my energy, and I'm going to redistribute. I'm going to pour it and put it back into myself because clearly you are not appreciating me, or clearly all of this effort that I've been trying to put in is not being valued by you. So whatever, I'm going to pour it into myself, into doing things that will be beneficial for my world, for my growth. And so I'm going to get my diet on point. I'm going to commit myself to doing the things that will better me, whether that's of a physical level, of a mental level, of a spiritual level. I'm going to get on my meditation. I'm going to start reading books. I'm going to go to classes. It like gives glow up energy in more ways than just physical. But absolutely, Virgo energy can shine a spotlight to our health. Like you can always know when someone leaves a relationship of somebody who's stressing them out because they will glow up right after. And yes, part of that is maybe them attuning to their health habits, but sometimes it's like just the glow in their eyes come back and their skin is less broken out because they're not so stressed all the time and they're less puffy and they just have a luster for life that echoes into your physical beauty and your vitality. So it's glow up season, not just physically, but also emotionally and spiritually, just wanting to be the best that we can. And if you've been in a situation that has been making you feel like less than, like you are not good enough, there could just be an energy with the Virgo sun around, let me invest my energy into what makes me feel my best, right? What makes me feel like I am improving and I am getting better. Because we'll never be at the end result, right? Where we are perfect and there's nothing for us to learn or grow. But it's important to invest our energy into environments where that growth is nurtured, not through this lens around trying to prove or trying to earn or trying to work for it, but just this energy around being good enough as you are, but being encouraged to be even better and even better from that viewpoint. And I will say that there may be some lover quarrels on Thursday. And again, not everything's as dramatic as the vibe check. Just with Venus square Mars, there might be certain things that your partner's doing around the end of the week that just kind of get under your skin. You're a little bit more frustrated. You could be saying certain remarks. Okay, Venus and Virgo, Mars and Gemini, two very witty energies. And so there just could be certain things that you're saying under your breath, or just certain things that are getting under your skin, certain things that are bothering you, and you could be letting the other person know. And again, zoom out, view from a bigger perspective, pick your battles intentionally, and just know that we might be a little bit more on edge when it comes to our partner, and it could be around very micro things. And for some, there just could be an energy around where you're wanting to invest energy within your partnership. Maybe for some, it's like, do we need to go to therapy, or how do we solve this particular issue within our life? For some, this absolutely could be conflict energy. It could also be passion energy, absolutely. The heat of the moment could absolutely take over and cause you to say some things that you don't intend to say. With Venus square Mars, you could also allow your passion to take over, even if it's not in a current partnership, potentially with both of these planets answering to Mercury retrograde, maybe reaching out to someone from your past. Again, put it in the notes app first. Put it in the notes app. See if that satiates that desire to be impulsive. Speaking of impulses, watch the spending on Thursday. Typically, Venus in Virgo is pretty discerning and it is opposing Saturn, so we're being asked to view our finances very realistically. But with the square to Mars, our little swipey swipe could be feeling a little good right now. We could be a little bit impulsive when it comes to spending our money. So just some words of caution when it comes to that alignment. And this exacts around 8:20 p.m. that evening. So just expect that night could be a little passionate, a little fiery. Okay. And the moon's also in Aries all day long. So again, we could be having little flare-ups, little lash outs, again, just little quips, just little remarks. Okay. On Friday, August 23rd at 5:21 a.m. PDT, Mercury in Leo will trine Chiron in Aries. And this has been a reoccurring and hallmark part of this Mercury retrograde, because there is an ask with Mercury retrograde to contemplate the past and not to get stuck there, but to be able to heal from. Like I said, me looking at old photos to a certain degree is infuriating, but also healing. Just looking at that girl and realizing, oh my love, it had nothing to do with you. How worthless you felt and how not valuable you felt and how uglier than other people you felt. Like, to an objective, zoomed out perspective, it had nothing to do with you. Like, that was healing in a certain essence, to view that and to realize that yes, that mental prison was ridiculous and not deserved, but it was ultimately just a result of being in the wrong relationship for me at that time. And so your story might be totally different, but you might find with Mercury retrograde, you are contemplating certain loops of the past and being able to find certain healing epiphanies or certain healing clarity around, oh, that had nothing to do with me, or oh, I see what I learned from that experience that I'm taking with me into my next chapter, or oh, as I reflect on this experience, I realize how it shaped me and molded me to be the person that I am. Oftentimes, a walk down memory lane could be productive, and with the trine to Chiron, you could revisit some places and spaces that were painful at the time and be able to draw wisdom from it, truly, and that you're taking with you into your journey forward. And there's also something around when we consider that facing of the unpleasant truth. And with Mercury trine Chiron, being able to make that decision helped put you in the pathway of growth and healing. And when we consider this thread around potentially some of us facing something inconvenient, unpleasant, with Mercury trine Chiron, there is some mental healing balm that's taking place. Not that it didn't hurt, not that it wasn't painful, right? Not that there wasn't emotions that we needed to process from it, but in some ways, having this information could have been healing, maybe to a certain degree, to realize, oh, it had nothing to do with me. This notification showed me who you are and gives me the clearance to walk forward now that I know your true colors. Doesn't make it not hurt that you refuse to value me or see me when I was putting all this energy in, but it gives me the clearance to move forward, and that's healing. Or there could be an energy with Mercury trine Chiron around, at least I've made my mind up. Now I'm not in indecision. Now I'm not flailing looking for an answer from all around me. At least I have clarity. And it hurts, this decision that I'm making, but at least I feel like I'm moving forward. For others of you, there just could be this energy around really wanting to build up your confidence source. You know, with Venus opposite Saturn, even if you're not in a situation as dramatic as what I detailed, you could be feeling unloved. You could be feeling not valued. You could be feeling worthless. You know, Venus in its fall opposing Saturn, like this is not an easy cosmic alignment. And with the energy of Mercury trine Chiron, it's hyping yourself up, right? It's being your own inner cheerleader. It's realizing not one person in this world is going to see my worth and my value unless I do. So I've got to learn how to get my inner monologue to be more supportive. Because let's be real, we're in Virgo season, lots of beauty to Virgo energy, but it could be an energy that's very hard on ourselves. And just knowing that nobody is going to cheerlead you and advocate for you as much as you are and as much as you need to for yourself. And that's also echoed by Mercury sextile Mars that evening at 9:31 p.m. Motivate yourself from within. Be your own biggest fan. Be your own biggest cheerleader. And so to a practical level, these Mercury aspects can bring some healing conversations today. You know, these healing conversations could even be your journaling, that you could listen to a podcast of something that's helpful for your state of mind. You could go on a long walk with a friend and have a conversation that allows you to see something in a different perspective. Not that it doesn't hurt, but you're able to have a framework to understand the hurt, what it taught you, and how it is that you're going to move forward could potentially be part. You could find that there's just certain conversations, maybe even at work, that you're having that are just making you feel more seen and making you feel more valued. With Mercury sextile Mars, you could also be advocating for yourself. You could be debating on something that's important to you. You could be sticking up for yourself for some. Maybe that's the healing part. And the moon is void at 5:44 a.m. Closing aspect is the Aries moon trining Mercury in Leo. It also trined Chiron a little earlier, sextiled its ruler Mars. So there is an energy where we could feel more inspired, empowered in starting the day. Again, set your day up on a successful note. Have some hype up music, right? Or do your meditations or do your affirmations, like do things that allow you to step into your day feeling confident and feeling empowered. No one's gonna do it for you unless you do it for you, okay? We've got a Virgo sun and Aries moon. These are very independent energies. And then the moon enters Taurus around 5 p.m. and Taurus itself is a very cozy energy. It's very comfy. Some individuals may be feeling inclined to want to go home, grab a fuzzy blanket, pour a glass of wine, put a documentary documentary on, right? Just like veg out, enjoy the creature comforts. And that could be soothing because the Taurus moon does square Pluto, which sometimes can make us feel a little on edge, a little uncomfy. So it might be helpful to ground into your physical vessel, to remind yourself all is well, just ground down one step at a time, one day at a time. For others with the Taurus moon trining Virgo sun, maybe that looks like going for a long walk. Maybe that looks like a workout class. Maybe that looks like making salmon and asparagus. That also could be how you're grounding and kind of soothing some of this more anxious energy. I will say we do have Mercury in Leo sextile Mars in Gemini that evening, which can make us more inclined to want to socialize, to want to connect. This would be great for a comedy show, or this would be great to learn something new, take a class, watch a documentary. We are wanting to be mentally stimulated, and it's important to give your brain some brain food because we are in Virgo season, which can be very anxious, overthinking energy. So it might be helpful to soothe the senses with all this earthy energy while also allowing your brain to be activated. I do want to say Mercury Mars can be a little bit of like debating energy. We also have Venus squaring Mars, still separating, which can make us, like I said, a little bit more reactive. So I'll just say with Mercury sextile Mars, you might feel more inclined to want to banter, to want to joke, but just be mindful because some of those jokes might go a little too far. With Venus square Mars. On Saturday, August 24th, at 11:33 a.m. PDT, Mars in Gemini will sextile Chiron in Aries. And this is the invitation to move some energy. And this is mandatory for Virgo season. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, but it is the earth sign. So we have mind, that's Mercury, and body, that's earth. And so there's a strong mind-body connection that is alive with Virgo placements, as well as with all of us currently. And it might be really helpful to quell some of the overthinking energy with Virgo around just having some physical movement within your world. And that could look like working out, that could look like lifting weights, that could look like hiking, that could look like paddleboarding, that could even look like just physically doing things to take your mind off of stuff, okay? To avoid the overthinking snares that we could get stuck in with Virgo season. And honestly, movement on Saturday feels healing, right? With Mars sextile Chiron. There could be an energy around being on your third mile and feeling proud of yourself around, gosh, I remember that day that I decided to change my life and I couldn't even run 1 mile. And here I am running 3. Like, that's why I love fitness goals so much, because it's not just about your physical ability to run 3 miles. It is a literal physical embodiment and representation of what it is that you are capable of when you set your mind to it. The new milestones that you reach are all a testament to your own dedication, to your own discipline, to your own consistency, to yourself. It reminds you to consistently push through even when things are hard, to muscle through it, that you are stronger than you realize. That's why I love fitness goals, because it's just a representation of the strength that you are able to chisel in other arenas of your life as well. And it doesn't need to look like a certain number on the scale. It doesn't need to look like a certain number of miles. It could just be like, I want to feel energized enough to play with my kids. Like, that is my fitness goal. Or I want to learn how to do hundreds and Pilates. Like, it's less so around the goal that you select, but more realizing when you reach that goal, I'm capable of reaching this goal. And what else can I accomplish? It transcends physical fitness from that lens. And even if you're not inclined to want to set physical fitness endeavors, maybe with Mars sextile Chiron, this is standing up for yourself on an important issue that feels healing. Think about the past times that you didn't stand up for yourself and feeling how healing it is to finally advocate for yourself in the ways that you wanted to. Or maybe for some of you, you're volunteering, you're taking part in an altruistic cause that feels good to use your energy to advocate for individuals who have been disenfranchised in some way. Like, that can absolutely be alive within your Saturday, as well as to feel how healing it could be to finally be in motion. Because within the vibe check, you've been in indecision. Should I stay? Should I go? Should I stay? Should I go? And it can feel healing to finally be moving in a direction, right? It could feel healing where, yes, there's a lot of uncertainties. I don't know what my life is going to look like, but at least I'm taking action. Like, that is healing within itself. After all of this indecision, all of this crossroad energy, at least I'm doing something. At least I'm taking steps to improve my life. And it's still slow and steady, right? I'm still setting the pieces up to move towards my new life, but at least I'm taking action in a certain direction. So that can also be healing around, I'm someone who's worthy of investing this energy into fixing my life in these particular arenas. But whatever it is that you do on Saturday, you are doing so with a Taurus moon, so very grounded, very earthy, sextiling Saturn and Pisces, which gives us discipline, which gives us groundedness. So truly Saturday is fertile soil for just about anything that you want to do. I would just say Saturday requires some movement, right? Move some energy, do some stuff, as well as be present in the environments that you are in. On Sunday, August 25th, the moon is in Taurus for a majority of the day. Always love a Taurus moon Sunday. It's so luxurious and indulgent and grounded. I will say there could be a little bit of stubbornness or some words potentially in the morning time with the Taurus moon squaring Mercury and Leo, whether you're sharing words with somebody else or maybe inwardly, almost like battling with yourself, not being able to make up your mind. The Taurus moon then trines its ruler, Venus, in Virgo. So even though the Taurus moon's ruler is not particularly happy in Virgo, there can be an ask on Sunday around finding a certain pleasure around doing things that are mundane. Around, okay, I'm just cleaning my house, but I'm going to play my records in order to make it more enjoyable. Or I'm just meal prepping, but I'm going to really enjoy the process of cooking and making all this food for the week. There is an ability to find that on Sunday. The moon does align with Uranus at 3:15, so there could be some unexpected shakeups, reverberations within your day, even if it's just impulsively deciding that you want to do something different, like you meal prepped all this food and then at 3:15 you're actually like, I actually just want to go get tacos tonight. Even though we just made all this food, I want something different. That could also be part of your Sunday. The moon will sextile Neptune at 6:40 p.m. and ask to ground down, to soothe the senses. The moon then enters Gemini at 8:04 p.m., going on to trine Pluto in Aquarius. So just be mindful. We've got a Virgo sun, we've got a Gemini moon, a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas, and this happens kind of late at night. So do try to get some sleep, okay? Yes, with the Gemini moon, learn, converse, connect with other individuals, but also remember to ground down. Be here now. So my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I am committed to my growth. Keep in mind, we have Jupiter square Saturn aligning this week, which can make a lot of us feel very stuck and very stagnant. And it's important to know that growth can take time. Sometimes you make the decision to leave, but it takes time for you to put in all of those pieces in order to leave. Sometimes you decide this career path is not working for me, but you have to zoom out in order to take the steps necessary to move in a positive direction. It's important to stay committed to your growth, whether that's showing up in big, exciting, expansive ways or in more slow and steady ways. And to be so committed to your own growth that you are willing to look things head on. Because a lot of times when we are not viewing something head on, it keeps us stuck. So when we are committed to our growth, we are committed to also facing things head on. We're willing to face where it is that we are and where it is that we want to be, and knowing that the path to get there, it might take time, but we are committed to it. We're willing to invest the time. And we are so committed to our growth that we're willing to be honest with ourselves. We're willing to look at situations. Because a lot of times when we keep ourselves in the dark around a certain situation, how can we move forward? We're in the dark. We don't want to face that. We don't want to look at it. And oftentimes when we are in rose-colored reverie, when we are in illusion, when we are in delusion, we don't move forward. We are stuck. We are restricted. How could we move forward? We don't even know what we're moving towards. And so yes, there can be certain truths, epiphanies, decisions that are not pleasant, that are not the easiest, but you are making them because you are so committed to your own growth and you love yourself so much that you are willing to face it, because that's what's going to allow you to evolve and to synchronize with your path. Again, no one is more equipped to run your life than you are. And if you're feeling confused, a lot of different viewpoints, a lot of different opinions on the route that you should go or how you should be living or what you should be doing, get quiet. That will inform you of the steps towards your growth, towards your path. So if you made it to the end of this forecast, go ahead and comment below the phone emoji as a shout out to the Mercury energy that is alive within the cosmos. Just to reiterate, I just want to make it clear that the story within the vibe check is not going to literally play out within each of our lives. So please do not panic. Please do not feel like you have to read other people's notifications or anything of that nature. It's just a storytelling device. But ultimately, you know, the truth is calling. It could come from within, it could come from around you, and there is an ask to pick up the phone and see what this Mercury retrograde has to say for you and and for your growth forward. So my loves, my Instagram handle is @HaleyCometAstrology. My TikTok is the same. I would so love to connect with you over there. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay